The Z to Z Podcast.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Z to Z Podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Brandon Fream, and thank you so much for listening. At Z to Z, we love gaming in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining Gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. If it's about achievements, we'll unlock it. You can find show notes for this show, as well as previous shows, on our website, z2z.com. This is episode 102. You can also contact us with questions and comments on Twitter at Z2Z, Z-E-D-T-O-Z-E-D, over at our forums, forum.z2z.com, or email us directly, contact@z2z.com. So it is post-Thanksgiving, and I have a new friendly host joining us tonight, a special guest. I'll do my not-so-special guest. Well, he's special to my heart, of course. It's Proulx. Proulx is here. How you doing, Proulx?
What? Not so special. I mean, well, you did say I was special to your heart.
You're
I don't know. I'm
special to
conflicted
me.
about how you.
You're not new.
How you introduced me. I'm doing well.
Your old hat.
Yeah, I guess I am. No, I'm doing pretty well. Had a good Friendsgiving over the weekend and played a bunch of games as well. So
Why do you hate your family?
Because I don't hate them. It's just that they live so far away.
Up in racist New York?
Yes, exactly.
Perfect.
So, yeah, we had a Friendsgiving. It was a great time. Watched some Thanksgiving, which is, by the way, everybody should watch that film.
That's that horror one, yeah.
Yes, it's so... it is so bad, so good. Awesomeness.
That's
watch
great.
that film. Only if you're of age. It's not appropriate for younger viewers. But had some turkey, played some video games, had some wine. It was just a great time. So I'm doing great.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, and then, like I mentioned, so we do have a special guest filling in. You've heard his voice before because he is the new ambassador to the Random To-Do List, giving us a weekly. Well, it stands weekly now. I don't know if you run out of content, we'll move it. But yeah, as of now, you've got a weekly little bit. We're going to pull you on the main show and just get to know you. It is ElroyOMJ. How are you doing, Elroy?
Oh my gosh, it's so great to be here. This is just a dream come true. I feel special. You have made me feel special.
Well, good. Well, we're just so delighted that you have embraced our little contest, our little community, and you've clearly enjoyed it. Although, what are you doing with yourself now?
Oh man, it's been some dark few days. Once I got that full combo out of the way, it was it just. I felt empty inside. It's just kind of like, I don't know, I just kind of sit on the couch and just stare at the wall a little bit more.
I just counting down the days until December 1st?
I am. It's just, it's just, I'm just kind of thinking, ooh, what if it's going to be this one? And what if it's going to be this one? And it's just, that's just how I occupy my time because, without the RTDL, it's just emptiness and darkness.
What's the point, right?
Yeah, but, I still get on and try to keep getting, a few achievements here and there, just to kind of, knock the rust off so that when the time comes, I'll be in peak form to, just go for that second combo. That's my new drug now. Seeing that in red. Have you seen the list lately?
Oh,
yeah. Urban Space, man. He updated that thing and updated where there's combos on there now. Are you kidding me? That's just
pretty.
Like it does, and then all red. It just really pops. It just flies off the page at you, and I want more of that. It's kind of like the Xbox ding itself, kind of. Much like the Pavlov's dog. I come a running when I hear it, and I think full combos might be a step above that.
The new thing, yeah. Because I'm looking at the list now. It looks like Kahuna's got you beat, but his is in red. That's for darn sure.
That's right. I'm gonna hold to that, and I might have something to say about that at some point. Now is a really sad time for me because there's nothing I can do. I've done everything I can do, and now I'm sure Spaceman's just gonna pull my heart out from my chest cavity and
just keep
stomp
pushing
on
you
it.
down lower and lower.
Yeah, I may not even make the podium this month, even with my excellence and completionist.
Sounds like you got to add some new games. We just had a massive Black Friday sale. There's some bigger ratios out there.
Oh, I know. It's did y'all go out for the Black Friday sale?
So I was really excited to put my crowd stomping shoes on and go out there and start trampling people. But now that I've kind of embraced digital, hasn't really happened, and really kind of had to stay home and just, keep the fort in check. My daughter, unfortunately, on Wednesday, so the day before Thanksgiving, broke her arm. Oh. She was doing, so she's 6, mind you. So my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, they are really big into like the Spartan races and like Rugged Maniacs and like those hardcore obstacle course races.
Absolutely.
So they've built all the bits and bobs for those in their basement, garage, and backyard. And so now, that it's the winter, we can't play out there. So they've got like rope swings in the basement and pegboards and pull-up bars and all sorts of. Well, my daughter was going for a one-handed arm swing and was attacking my I guess it's my niece's husband. Anyway, was attacking this dude, and she went to hit him with a baton and fell and landed right on her wrist, and so broke her wrist. So she's not happy. But, it's funny because my family's pretty notorious for getting sick around Thanksgiving, and my wife, the morning of, even said, I am so surprised that nobody's sick for Thanksgiving. And sure enough, that day, my daughter breaks her arm. I was like, man, you had to jinx it, wife. Like that, I'm putting that on you. You're bad mojo.
Blood's on her hand.
Yep. So I didn't get a chance to go out and hurt anybody. But to be honest, I haven't even done shopping. My wife's done all the shopping, and like I've been staring at the internet trying to go buy stuff. But like the Amazon Prime's under her name, so she's gonna see everything I buy her. And it's like, well, I'm not gonna pay shipping on this. Are you kidding me? What am I? An animal? So anyway, Proulx, what about you? So now that you're like in this fully committed relationship, I assume you guys are going to do up Christmas pretty good?
Yeah. I mean, no Black Friday nonsense for me. I try not to even leave the house.
Well, that's smart. That's totally smart.
Basically from Thanksgiving on, as little as possible. I don't really care for all of that nonsense. So none of the Black Friday silliness for me, although I did spend a bit more than I was expecting on game sales, so it's okay. That doesn't bother me.
I'm currently diving back into the game sales because there's some titles I needed to pick up, and so I had to get back on there and open the wallet a little bit. So yeah, I'm with you. That list is getting significant. It really puts things in perspective when you say, okay, I know it's $3 and it's 3,000 Gamerscore. But when am I going to do it? When do I have 10 hours to finish all 3,000? And the answer is, I don't care. I'm going to buy it. So Anyway, Elroy, I don't think we know enough about you because you're incredibly new to the Discord chat. You've recently graced us with your presence. So I want to get to know you a little bit. So I'm gonna kick it over to you. And now I've heard grumblings that this is going to be a hugely depressing diatribe, which is great because Randy's not on the show, so at least somebody can take this thing into the depths of hell. But you tend to have a little bit more enthusiasm in your voice, so maybe it'll come off great. Right. What's your backstory? If you've been in Discord chat, you know some of this, but let's hear it from the horse's mouth, as it were.
Oh, right on. Well, as far as Black Friday, it didn't quite get around the table to me, but let me tell you, there's some deals out there. I had a weird approach this year. I thought there's 2 Walmarts. One's on one side, one's on the other side. Now, there's one that would be on the good side of the tracks, and one that's not so much on the good side of the tracks. And so I thought, where am I most likely to get some Xbox deals at? So I took my little nephew and my father-in-law, and we went out to the wrong side of the tracks, and
you need some bullet shields. I'm hearing.
Yes, and so we went in there. I think there was some pretty tense moments, but all in all, there was this huge line with people with their hands all over all kinds of stuff like this I guess that's how you claim things. Is, you put your hand on this Microsoft, this microwave oven, and that means you have to, fight him for it or something. I don't know. I wasn't really sure on the code of it, but that's what it looked like.
I've heard that just, if the hands doesn't work, that you have to escalate and put other things on there to increase the level of your claim. So, sort of like, are you going to eat this cookie after I licked it kind of thing?
Right, yeah. And so, I was looking for these games, and so I went back to the game cabinet, and there was nobody there. And so, there was this kind of an uneasiness that something was afoot. And so they come over. I finally got someone over there, and I asked, "Where's the games?" Because it was getting about crunch time. 6 o'clock was rolling around. That's when they opened up the crates. And so they come over to the game cabinet, and they looked at me like I was crazy. And A, for being there, B, for being at the game cabinet. And so I was like, "Well, where's the games?" And he's like, "Oh, they're over in the milk." Oh, obviously that's where you put the games.
That's a good spot for those.
Yeah, in the milk. So I went over to the milk, and I see like a couple of bins, and then it looked like there was like, handing out some refugees, handing out food in a third world country as they rip the top off this crate, and then there's just pandemonium, people grabbing these games out. And I since inspected the one that I got, and there was no security device on it whatsoever. There was a green sticker, but there was no security device. So I'm assuming that Walmart took a bath that day, but I'm not sure. But
of course you didn't, though, right? You as an upstanding citizen.
Yes, I of course. Yes,
the games were in the milk aisle, and the games aisle was empty?
The games aisle was like a ghost town. And there was like a couple random games, but it looked like, whatever happened there happened a long time ago. But there was nothing. They hadn't restocked it in any way, shape, or form. There's just a couple of games hanging here and there. But then there was like this bin, and there's just games everywhere. And so, and there was no organization to it. And so everyone just kind of collapsed on it and was just grabbing stuff. So I was there for Assassin's Creed Origins, $29. And so that's a story in itself. But I got my hands on it, and it was a success. I didn't. There was a part of me that wanted to grab all the NBA 2K live games and shove them into the milk, into the cabinet.
Cheese.
Yeah, and as a ongoing civil disobedience towards that franchise. But I feared that if I grabbed all 5 of them at that juncture, that I would be grabbed by at least 5 other people, and that my civil disobedience might turn into something much darker. Sure. I didn't want to make the news. And so, all in all, it was a success, Black Friday.
Do you want to, not everybody may be aware, but do you want to explain your campaign of civil disobedience towards the NBA franchise, your issue with them?
I don't think it's my issue. I think it's all of our issues.
Well, I agree.
I'm
in your court. I'm totally in your court.
No pun intended. Yes.
Oh, my God, that's
yes.
Sorry, that's true.
So NBA 2K. Let me just say this. So every year we have just around that time of year we have one thing that we look forward to. It's an easy 1,000 points on Prelude. You download it, you get it, you play through it, you foul the crap out of everyone, and so you foul out, you win the game, and you get your points. It's a wonderful exchange. This is a time-honored system since, I think last year. But
2017 or 16.
Yes, since 2017. And so 2018 rolls around. We're ready to have a new Prelude game. I do believe that the hosts of this fine program even catered a contest around this.
Oh, yeah.
And that the expectation was there. Give us our points. This is our God-given rights here. Liberty and Prelude points. And
Bingo.
So, what did they do? Not only did they not put any achievements in the Xbox version. That would have been bad enough. No. They took it one step further. They put them all in the PlayStation version. Some trophy system.
That's the real travesty right there.
It is.
Oh, my goodness.
It's the sting, yeah.
Yeah, and so that was a little hard to swallow. So I decided that I've been pushed too far. I decided, someone had to do something, and that I would be that guy. And so I decided
you're really the people's champion.
I do it for them. I try to be the voice, and I know a lot of people are busy living life and everything. I have no life, so I have plenty of time to do this stuff. And so I decided I'd take it out on GameStop. And so it started with simply just kind of turning some stuff around here and there, kind of hiding the product, kind of making it inconvenient for any potential buyers. And they had a nice poster board of some sort of Shaquille O'Neal. I'm not even really sure what that had to do with the game. I probably would know. But Prelude didn't come out and fill me in. But apparently they threw it back to 15 years ago, and so Shaquille O'Neal was in the game for whatever reason. And so I made him take a flop. He took a flop.
He did.
And he did.
He was
he was down. And hopefully being down with Shaquille O'Neal would be the sales for the game until they feel the pressure and cave into our demands and give us our achievements that we're entitled to.
Preach on, brother.
Yes,
I totally agree.
But enough about me.
Well, no, I want more about you. Enough about your battles on Black Friday.
Oh yes, sorry, I kind of got off the topic.
No, that's great. That's great. So this Walmart, right? So whereabouts in the country do you live? I mean, I don't expect you to give out your address or anything, but where can we? You tend to have a bit of a twang to your voice.
Oh, no. Say it's not so. Well, I'm originally from Texas, but I live in Memphis now. So
you can barely tell. I mean, really? You can barely tell.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I don't think I have much of an accent, but I don't know. I've been told otherwise.
It's a touch. It's a touch.
Okay.
It's delightful, though.
Oh, no. You can totally tell.
The only other person that's really heard my voice is Big L, and he mentioned something to that effect. But sorry.
It just adds the flavor. That's what we're looking for. So what do you give us a kind of a target age? You sound a bit of a veteran gamer. You've been gaming for some time
so
now.
Let me start this sad manifesto for you. And so I am about myself. Here we go. Here's got these notes on myself here. I've been described by many as being the tale of a gamer who's looking for Gamerscore by looking for easy completion games that I have to play. But first, I must find. How was that? Did that grab you?
That's like a hunt to do the hunt.
Yeah,
like the pre-hunt.
Yeah, and so. But anyway, no, I'm a typical gamer of anyone in their 40s. Grew up with the Coleco, Atari, NES, and then I kind of worked my way through all the 8-bit, 16-bit, 64, all the way, through that whole timeline. Yeah. And so around the N64, PS2, that was when I was graduating from college. And so at that point, I kind of fell off of gaming, and I just kind of disappeared for a while, life and getting married and finding a job and everything like that.
Right.
So then came my renaissance. Yes, my gaming renaissance. And so the Wii came out, and, everybody was doing the Wii thing. What more touching was the movie King of Kong, Fistful of Quarters, yes.
Yep.
And so I saw Billy Mitchell, and that guy, he really spoke to me.
You actually saw him in person?
No. Just
okay. You saw him in that movie.
Yeah, that would have been a much better story than what I'm telling. But
have you seen him in like an interview or anything? Like in any other besides that movie? Have you seen him? And I guess I haven't even seen the movie, so I don't know how he's depicted. But the guy's kind of a jackass.
Not well. He's not depicted well.
Misunderstood is what you're trying to say.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. No, that guy. Yeah. So I decided if Billy Mitchell can do it, then I can do it. So I decided I'd try to, see if I could set a world record, maybe somehow in some game. And so it's what I started doing. I got on Twin Galaxies, and I started recording my gameplay and seeing if I could be the best at something. And so I'm proud to report that I did find a few. There was a few games that didn't have any competition, but there's one in particular, one of my favorite games of all time that I grew up with back in the Commodore 64 days as well as the NES days, and that was the game of MULE.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Ladybug.
Oh, no, Ladybug's pretty awesome, too. I played that on the Coleco, but no.
Or Heist.
We're talking high business here. This is economics. MULE.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all ever played that?
I've never played MULE, no.
Oh, man. It's
Heard of it.
Yeah, it's not spelled mule. It's like M.U.L. It stands for like mobilized, I don't know, some space utility, something or another. And so it's a game that teaches you economics. And so I played that.
Is it like that game when you were a kid, MASH, right? Mansion, apartment, sewer, or house, right?
There.
And you'd pick
There you go.
The paper one? The
Without the
papercraft
paper,
one? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh,
Didn't
yeah.
you guys did that, right? Where you drew that circle
Yeah.
and then you had to
Heck yeah,
go
man.
through and
see who you marry and
Who
all
you're
that good
marrying?
stuff.
Yeah. Totally.
Absolutely.
so that's what MULE was, right? Where you got Gamerscore based on your circle.
It was just like that, except for it was nothing like it. It was
It was in space, I hear.
In space.
Yeah, in space, and so you're like collecting resources and everything. So if you can look it up. Spoiler alert: if you go to the Wikipedia page, you'll see that they actually have a world record listed under there, and you'll see my name.
Shut up! Really?
Oh,
Look
yeah.
at that, man. We're
And so
in the midst of a champion.
I know it.
Wonderful.
And I'm hesitant to tell people this information because I'm afraid someone's gonna like have some beef with me or something, and it would like crush me if someone beat my score. So yeah, disregard everything I just talked about.
But like, does anyone really have a functioning Coleco or no Commodore? I mean, like, do those still work?
They do.
Like, you could.
Well, my world record's on the NES, but if you do notice that it is a higher score than the one set on the world record of the Commodore 64. Just saying, but it is the highest score to date, and sure enough, as I'm saying this, probably it's changed like yesterday. That would be so sad.
So you brought up King of Kong. Did you have like an overlay on top of your I was gonna say monitor, but TV at the time, where you'd kind of draw out the plays that you're supposed to. I don't know exactly how this game works, so it may be a little bit different. But I'm remembering the scene from the actual film where he like overlays this plastic sheet over the top of the monitor, so he knows exactly when to jump and when to turn and do all this stuff. Was how like in depth did you had to get this incredibly high score that no one will ever beat?
Right, and that's higher than the Commodore 64 world record holder. But it's actually there's a lot of variables in place of it because you have to like it's based on production. You have so many land plots, and you have to grow what is in high demand. And there's random events, and the random events can sink you because there's these freaking space pirates. Let me tell you about these space pirates. They come flying in, and they take all the crystite. Now, the crystite, that's the high dollar stuff. That's like fine jewelry, fine.
That's like the crystal meth.
Yes, yeah. And so these little junkies come in with their crooked teeth, and they come in, and they steal your crystal meth. Yeah, they take it all of it. And so if you're heavy into that market, you might as well just turn the console off and start over because it's over. Yeah. So, but the key to the game is transitioning from smith ore to crystite, and while keeping your energy and your food in check and like depriving the rest of the colony. I grew up playing it very competitively with my best friend, and it's always been my favorite game to go to.
I have like 1,000 questions now that you're telling us this really interesting information. So like, when was the last time you played this game? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, well, it's funny. Once I set the world record and recorded it, because you have to record it and all the variables and everything and send it off. And once I saw that it had been documented, I have not picked it up since. I figured I'm going out on top. And since it's this was several years ago, but since I've done that, since then, they had an app. So if you wanted to try the game out, there's a real nice reboot of it on the iOS. I don't know about the other Google Play or anything, but you can download it and you can play it. And I downloaded the app and listened to all the different versions of the theme song on it. They have multiple versions of the theme song. That theme song used to get me every time. It's very catchy. And so you can download it and give it a try. And I don't know if you can set a world record on the iOS, but
that's fascinating.
Would you like if tomorrow you found out someone beat your score? Would you get back into it? Would you like, or are you just like resigned to like, hey, I got it for however long and I'm good with that?
That's one of those things that I would hate to sit there and ponder upon, because I would be legitimately hurt, because it's like a lot of people know this about me, and so it'd be like they ripped my identity from me. So, God, like I'm really setting this up where somebody's going to do this.
Wait, so oh my gosh, now I have a bunch of questions.
Someone's going to do this.
You say that as in like this is your identity?
No.
Is this how you met your wife? Like, is this your pickup line?
Yeah, she's my groupie. Yeah, so we were hanging out. Me and Billy Mitchell and my wife came up. And she's like, "Is that who I think?" Yeah.
No. Hey, I don't know. I'm kind of a champion. I got a world record. I don't know if that does anything for you, baby.
Oh yeah. About the only good it does is it does get me a lot of cred with my kids that I teach. So you asked about who I am. I am a teacher, so I do. Throw that into my introduction that I am a world record holder in a video game, and that really captivates them. Even though they've never heard of the game and it came out before any of them were born, but they still show some respect for that, so that's kind of cool. But so I teach high school. I teach students. That's kind of my go-to joke, is when people ask me what do I teach, I say computers. And I say I teach computers. That's the answer they're looking for. And so I say I teach students, and then I just leave it. I just like walk off. And they look at me kind of odd, and I explain to them that was my joke, and they still don't think it's funny. But so I teach students how to use the computers, and that's just kind of what I do. I like it because I can get home early, fire up the old Xbox, and got summers off.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it's there's some perks you get. You don't get paid anything, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
We don't need anything, right? With all these sales, you're set.
Yeah. Oh yeah, $29 for Assassin's Creed, and I could have pocketed every other game that was ever created that day. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I can't believe that. That's super cool. No, go ahead.
Oh no, and so how I got into Xbox was a few years later. I was on the zombie kick. So that was one thing that really grabbed me, is when I was listening to this podcast. I started on the first episode, and you were explaining how you got into achievement hunting.
Right. And
you mentioned Dead Rising. And so I was like, oh my gosh, he's telling my story. And so that's kind of what got me, is that I didn't like zombies, but I loved killing them. And so my brother, he got me an Xbox 360 because of some warranty thing. He had his got the red ring of death, and he had to send it off. And
right.
Yeah, and so that was back when that was a thing. And so he couldn't wait until it was fixed, and so he went and bought a new one. And then I got his refurbished one when they got back. And so then that's when I got introduced to Xbox. So yeah, and then there's a really long, boring story about how I just bounced around, didn't do anything for a few years, and just kind of played for fun. And and then.
You feel kind of dirty, don't you? Like, you look back and you're like, oh, so much wasted time. Why did I spend so much time in Modern Warfare 2?
Oh, no. Yeah. Just trying to get one little achievement worth 20 points. And I'm like, my goodness, I could knock out, like 300 points just like nothing in the time that it's taken me to get, this one little 20-point achievement. And that's one of the things that's always been for the RTDL. It's always been testing my patience, because I like to deal in volume with these things. I've only been achievement hunting for a year and a half. I'm still rather new to this game, and let's see, since when did I hit 100,000 last September, and I had some. The reason I got into it was the badge system. Are y'all familiar with that thing, the badge system?
Over on Gamertag Nation or a different
no,
site,
it was.
or what?
I don't even know what it was. It was something to do where if you got 100,000 points, you were an overlord.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah. And so
I remember we talked about that.
Oh, did you? Okay, I must have missed those.
Well, it was like a year ago or whenever they announced it, because they're working on like what the designs were or where the threshold should be.
Yeah. Has it been implemented? Because my understanding was it's being implemented a year ago, and so I was sitting at around 55,000, and I was like, "Be danged if I'm going to be just a master. I'm going to be an overlord. I'm a world record holder now. I have got to be an overlord." And so I wanted the 100,000, and that's kind of what hooked me, I guess, is that I just like, well, how did I get to 100,000 the quickest? And so then I just started bouncing around, and and so I was on Xbox Achievements. I guess that's the rival account of TA. And so I really didn't get started with TA until this last July. And I'm proud to announce that I joined this past summer, and I already have a friend.
Yay!
Yeah, I got one friend. So it's Big L. He forced me to.
Oh,
yeah. So
womp womp.
He kind of strong arms people into friendship.
Yeah, man.
Even if you don't want to.
Yeah, he would have threatened to run off all my other friends, but I had none. So it was pretty easy sell. So but anyway, I got 100,000 last September. And then,
did you do anything fun for it? Were you did you have something special set up?
I did.
A lot of people like to use like a really iconic one to hit it right on the head.
I have no idea what I played. I just remember taking a picture in front of the TV flexing. That's all I remember.
Nice.
Yeah, and so that kind of became my trademark. Is every 100,000, I would do that, and then I accidentally dropped the ball at 300,000, and I accidentally had one of my students pop that for me, and it was a sad moment in my life.
Wait a minute. You said you hit 100,000 last September.
That's correct.
And then you've already hit 300,000?
Yes, I have been hitting it very hard. The part about me not having a life, let me go back to that. And so, yes, I've been moving at a very blistering clip. And I hit 300,000 the first week in November. And so, I just...
So 200,000 in a year or thereabouts.
I was thinking about that. It was 200,000 in a year and 2 months. So
that's very impressive.
Well, thank you.
Hats off to you, man. That's crazy. Blistering pace is, I think, underselling yourself.
Well, I was looking at how I did it, and so I am a very heavy consumer of the ACA catalog.
I'm looking at it right now.
I counted it, and I have literally, no exaggeration, 41 games valued at a depressing $327.59. So I am, so that's a good chunk of it. But you'll notice that even on the RTDL, my ratios are all very low. I play very crappy games. I really don't. I mean, I just play awful games, and so I don't. The last game that I played that I enjoyed was the Assassin's Creed Origins, because I've always been a fan of that series. But before that, it has to go way back a year before that to Dead Rising 3 or 4. And I know y'all didn't like that game, but hey, don't be talking bad about Frank. He's still good in my book now.
So you're saying you played an entire year's worth of games that
I hated? Yes,
that you hated. You haven't enjoyed a game in a year.
Well, there's some that I stumble into that I've enjoyed, little jewels here and there that I'm like, hey, that was a pretty cool game. I like that one. I didn't buy it thinking I would like it. I just bought it because it was under an 8-hour completion on TA. And so basically that's what I look for, is I just look for anything 8 hours or less, and then I know I can finish it in at least 2 days. And so then, it just keeps the number moving.
Is that your typical gaming time? You got about 4 hours a night to hit the box?
Yeah, so being a teacher, you get home somewhat early. Yep. And my wife, she works a real job, and she...
well, of course, you got to put food on the table.
That's my sugar mama. And so she gets home around 5-ish, so that gives me a good 2 hours there. And then after we eat, I don't have any kids, so I got from basically 7 till about 10. So yeah, about 4 to 5 hours a day, I would say.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's
So you're dinks.
No.
Yeah.
Also, so I did mention I have dinks. Yes, double income, no kids, and so
I remember those days.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. And so I let me tell you, the ACA catalog, it really pops on my 4K TV on my Xbox One S. Like the Xbox One S at 4K graphics of. I've just been playing, Soccer Brawl lately. That just came out, and let me tell you, when you punch somebody on the soccer field, I mean, it's almost like you really see the sparks because they're robots really fly there. It's 4K. It's just amazing.
I can only handle those ACA games maybe one a month because they drive me insane with their glitchiness and their lagginess and how they're awful. They're terrible. I cannot imagine going through every single one that comes out.
Hey, Elroy, I was just looking through your best day, and it just happened a month ago.
Yes.
What can you tell me about October 11th? Did you have a party? Did you have anybody over?
Oh, no.
You pretty much went through all of the Jackbox games in one sitting.
Yeah, that's I just kind of sit around with all my friends. Okay, I have no friends, but yeah.
All your friends? You mean like incognito Windows?
Yeah, so yeah. I have to give special thanks to my Windows phone. It's
Yeah.
my second laptop, and so
a couple
phone.
Firefox
Yeah,
browsers,
Firefox
a little bit
browser,
of Chrome.
Yeah, it was pretty. Those were overdue. I had seen those and been putting them off, and I just, they were actually kind of fun. And I ended up using one of them at a party for my students. I had a Halloween party for my students, and we played Quiplash. So, I would have gotten it authentically that day. But no, I was just trying to see how much I could get in one day. I was inspired by Randy's quest to win his Xbox, and I thought, well, let's see how much I can do in a day. So I had the day off, I believe. And so I thought I'd see make some magic,
Yeah. So if you're interested in the Discord or in chat, right? So you go to our website and look at the show notes for this show, z2z.com. I'm going to put an item in there, and it is a graphical representation of Elroy's Gamerscore and Freamhole's Gamerscore. Those are, I mean, we make an X, really, because your thing goes up and mine goes horizontally. I am shocked by this graph. This thing is ridiculous. So you owe it to yourself to take a peek at this.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. Yeah. I'm still discovering all the TA goodies. I'm sure I drive people crazy by asking how do I do something in TA about 10 times. But yeah. So I do have to give a nice thank you. I mentioned I have no kids, so in my view, I am at kind of a disadvantage because I don't have free labor at the house. And
Sure.
So what I do is I've set up what I call the Student Achievement Factory. And so the Student Achievement Factory, it takes place in my I'm looking at the graph. Yeah, that's substantial.
You're a lot better at this than I am.
Yeah, that's. I don't know if that should make me sad or I'm not really sure. I'm not sure how to react to that. That is something though. But my Student Achievement Factory, I have all these extra Xboxes laying around. I have three. Let's say no. I'm sorry. I have 2 Xbox 360s. I have 1 Japanese Xbox 360. I have 2 Xbox Ones, and I have 1 Xbox One X, the new one. And so I take 2 of those to work, and so I have a couple of students that they have taken my class before, and so I scheduled them in that same class so that they could be able to be my student worker of sorts.
Sure.
Worker with little quotes around it. And so their work involves them sitting in the back of my classroom. I have a really large closet. And I have a nice projector set up. And we project the Xbox One onto the screen. And so I just give them an assignment, okay, do this game. And so basically it's any of the games that I don't want to do. That's a lot of the first-person shooters. Not a big first-person shooter guy. So if you look on my tag and see anything, Halo, Battlefield, anything like that, FIFA, soccer, things like that, I have never played any of those. Never played a game of Halo in my life. So, so that gives you an idea of the success rate of my student achievement factor.
Nice.
And, yeah,
So what
that's
games
how
do you like to play? What typically? I mean, you just pure easy games,
Oh,
low
yeah.
ratio easy games. Do you actually have a
Yeah.
game type that you actually enjoy?
Well, at a point, you've consumed so much junk food, and I consider these games junk food. At
Sure.
some point, I've consumed so much of them, I don't even know what real food tastes like anymore. So,
No, that's a good analog.
yeah.
Although, I mean,
So-
well, Assassin's Creed would be real
Yes.
food in that analogy, right? So
Absolutely. And so, I'm a huge Assassin's Creed person. And you've seen, I think you saw our discussion about Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag in the Discord chat. We were discussing Ezio overrated or not. I'm not really sure why we're having that conversation. I mean, Ezio is clearly not overrated, but that's okay. It's always good to have a discussion, but I'm glad we could discuss that. And so, I've been a huge fan of the system, or the series. And so I've always bought the best of the best. I've always got the collector's edition. So I've always, I have a statue of Arno, from, what was that, Liberty or Unity, or one of those, I forget. But
That was Unity.
yeah, and so I got the statue. I don't even know why I have it, but I just wanted it because it was the best of the best. And so I finally, this podcast has really been rubbing off on me. And so I decided, either that or all these, just terrible games. I'm getting all these games for like $3, $5, $7 here. And so all these games, I've been used to paying so little for them. And so the new Assassin's Creed comes out. And for some reason, I just said, no, I'm not going to pay the $70 for the collector's edition. And so then I started looking into it. Have y'all seen all the Origins collector's editions?
They're significant.
Oh my gosh, yes. I have them right here. I have the standard edition. That's the one I got for $29, but it retails at $60. Now, some of these prices are a little different because Black Friday sales were going on. I don't know how long they go on for, but
Right.
Anyway, $60 standard edition. You got the deluxe edition for $70. You have the gold edition for $100. Then you get to the collector's editions. You got God's Collector. That's for $120. You got the Dawn Collector for $160. But for the select few out there, there's the Legendary Collector. Yes. The Legendary one, it includes a steelbook, a season pass, the game, obviously.
Oh my God! You actually get the game? 'Cause
yeah,
on
the
Halo,
game.
you actually didn't get the game, right?
Yeah, you get the game. Some extra missions, an inventory pack, an art book, a world map, some lithographs, a Premium Eagle skull amulet, and a 2.5-foot Bayek statue.
Jeez.
All for the it's 2.5 feet.
How terrifying would that be to have around the house? Like, it looks like a little miniature warrior gremlin.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I would hide him around the house and scare people.
Well, you can do it.
Does he have the
good
bird
news,
with him?
Well, I have good news and bad news. Is that yes, the bird is with him, and I forget the bird's name, but you can do it, but you can't because
Chuckles, I think. Chuckles
Yes.
the bird.
Kazooie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Good
no.
callback there.
No, okay, yeah, and so
Bayek and Kazooie.
and so you can do this. Your dream can come true, all for the low cost of $799.99.
But what's
However,
the cost to your soul is really the
Well,
question.
Well, the bad news is that they only made 200 units in North America, and they're sold out.
Oh, no. Yeah. This is like the reverse Kickstarter, where it's like, actually, we had all this money, and we just made all this stuff, but, like, you guys should all buy different tiers of our rewards program. Instead of
This
like,
is like-
hey, you get to meet the devs. It's like, no, just have all this crap that we made for marketing.
Yeah.
This is making me think of like what is the most not exclusive, but elusive legendary edition, collector's edition of any game.
I
And
know.
It's
Do you remember?
gotta be. I think it has to be the
200 units. I mean, I don't know what was in the rest of the world, but 200 units in North America.
I want to hear what Proulx has to say because I have an answer.
Oh, I think the definitive answer is going to be the collectors, or not collectors, whatever the edition was of Saints Row 4. I think it was Saints Row 4, where like you won like a car. It was like $1 million. You had to literally spend $1 million, and you got like a car and a trip to space. And I can't remember. I have to look it up.
Oh, I don't remember that. Okay, that might do it because the one I'm thinking of was, I want to say it was Dying Light, where you got a zombie shelter. Like you actually purchased a home. And I think it was $250,000 to do it, to get it. But like it was legit. Like you could actually get this $250,000. It was, I don't remember the square footage on this zombie house. And then they had like a full size like one of their zombies and like all this gear, like a bulletproof vest. You did get the game. The game was included. But yeah, that's the one I recall being most elusive, which I think was actually semi-legitimate. I don't think the Saints Row one was legitimate.
Well, we don't. I don't know if anybody. It is so. There was only one available, and it's called the Saints Row 4 Super Dangerous WAD Edition, aka the $1 million pack. And you got the game, a full-size replica gun, a full day of spy training, a trip with Virgin Galactic 1 year's membership, blah blah blah, and a Lamborghini to make it worthwhile. Plastic surgery of the purchaser's choice. And a whole bunch of other stuff. And actually, I remember, somebody broke it down when they were doing this, and it actually didn't even equal $1 million. Like you had to pay $1 million to do it, but you were actually losing money if you actually bought each of those things individually. So, needless to say, nobody actually purchased it, but quote unquote, it was available. So
that's ridiculous. So, Elroy, let's go back to your games here. I'm looking at your games collection because I'm also looking at your. We talked earlier in the show about your affinity to the random to-do list, and having already unlocked all 25 achievements this month. I look at your pool size, and your pool size doesn't look that big. Yet I'm looking at a lot of your games in here, and there's looks like a lot of open achievements. Have you tailored a list, or do you have all of them available? Because I'm not going through all 3,000 or so open achievements, but have you kind of tweaked your list a little bit so you don't have to play, I don't know, Rocksmith or Rock Band or any of those kind of things?
Oh yeah, so all the music games, those are long gone.
That's garbage, right?
Yeah, that's just not going to happen. And so a lot of them are just games that I honestly don't know how to play. I thought that I should be at least the one to do the majority of the list, and so. If it's like Halo and stuff like that, those are games that students have started on my tag, and so I've never played them. I don't know anything about them, and so that's probably why the list is a little small. I really haven't taken off a lot of them, but I think probably what you're seeing is that these games are really easy, and so my completion percentage isn't that great, but
no.
A lot of these games only have like 15 achievements in them, and so when I'm popping about 10 to 12 of those in each game at least. It's kind of...
You just got a high turnover rate.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, I have like 400 games, I believe, on my system. And so I can imagine that, my pool size should be a little larger. It's not like around 1,000 like some people, but, that's not to name names, but some people, fly a little closer to the sun than I do. So not sure why, we're bringing up my 4,000, but when there's at least a couple people with the 1,000 mark. But it's I try to leave it pretty open. I haven't seen any of my ACA collection pop up on my random to-do list. Is there like a standing ban on those, or I haven't seen them on anybody's list, to be honest.
I don't think so.
I don't
have. Oh, you know what? Because they're not on my active list, even though it says I have 14,000 achievements available to me.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's a lot. Actually, Proulx, did you cut your list down?
No, and as of right now, I'm kind of still against the idea of it. I I prefer the idea of a pure random to-do list, as in any game that I've started is fair game, and I can random to-do is motivation for me to go back and do things that I didn't want to do at the time and I haven't done, and this will give me that oomph to go do it.
Does it though?
It does. A lot of times it does. There are
right.
3 or 4 games that I drag my feet on, like we've mentioned on the podcast before, Dark Souls. Ugh, God, why did I start Dark Souls? But I think it's going to annoy me enough at some point when I get it like for the 10th time in random to-do list to do it. To just actually
because it just keeps coming up. You're like, I should just get rid of this so it stops showing up. Like I'm kind of the same way on some of those things.
Yeah, I'm so close to just starting and completing, like just restarting because I don't know anything about the game. I don't remember. And completing the game Risen because it just shows up all the time and it's terrible and it's awful. But I just want to of course, the easy option is to get it off my list is to just remove it from my collection or whatever. But it's a game that's still on my tag, and I would rather get it done than to just remove it for competition's sake. So fine, maybe at some point I'll decide to go and clean it up. And random to-do list is the perfect excuse for that. So I kind of like the idea of, I don't like the idea of a tailored random to-do list. I kind of like the idea of a pure one where it's basically, hey, you started this game and you never finished it. That's what this contest is for, and that's how I treat it. I know a lot of people don't feel the same way, but it's more of a competition with myself that involves other people, if that makes sense. So.
Sure.
I got a question on that. Are you? What's the longest time span it's been between like the first pop on there and where you pick the game back up and bam, you have another achievement years later?
I mean, technically, I suppose it would be Perfect Dark because I bought 360 at launch and had a few achievements in it. Obviously, not much because that game is rough. And then just this, Randy and I started playing it this spring, I want to say, or maybe this summer, and we got a whole bunch more achievements in it. But that was from 2006 all the way until now. So that wasn't a random. It may have been actually random to-do list motivated, but I can't specifically remember. I don't know why else I would pick up that game though. But yeah, I would say that just by default that's the answer for me because obviously it was a launch title and you can't go any further back than that. So
11 years. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
I wonder if I've unlocked anything in Hexic recently. I mean, most of my, like, the one that comes to mind now is Omerta, because I beat that game when it came out, and so, like, I completed it within, like, the first 9 days of release, and so I think that was back in 2013, and then a year later, literally 1 year after, I had sold the game, and about 2 weeks after I sold the game, they're like, hey, surprise, new DLC. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I literally sold the game. Like, this is annoying. And so I never went back to it. And then finally, it was on sale. And I was like, oh, here's my chance. And this was, a couple months ago. And so I fired it back up. So that's probably about a 4-year gap that I can think of at the top of my head. Like I said, I'm curious if Hexic, if that came up on my random to-do list when it was, like, actually random or I needed an H for some reason. Those things tend to come up, although there's a lot of titles on there now that I just kind of stopped playing, and so perhaps if they show up, I might be inclined to start unlocking some things.
For me, it was when I first started off with the Xbox 360, I was part of the Blockbuster, where you mail in the DVDs and all that, and so they branched out to games, and so I tried all these games, and so I get them, and I try them for a day, and I didn't care anything about achievements, but it was long enough to get them on my tag, and so I had one with Bayonetta, and so Bayonetta, yeah, it was a good 7-year gap, and so I was like, wow, that's why the question came to my mind, is because I had Bayonetta on my most recent list, and so that was a nice little learning curve, remembering how to play that thing, so. Only 7 years apart.
Yeah, you guys were talking about the Dark Souls a little bit ago. Did you guys see? It's all over Twitter right now. If Dark Souls was Cuphead, so they replaced all Cuphead and Mugman with Dark Souls characters, and they're going through and they just redid the. I mean, it's brilliant. It's just amazing. We're all over the place this week. We should talk about what we've actually been playing. Before we get there, I want to do my game mashup question. So last week, I'd mentioned this. I wanted to do this on these shows. That you take your two game titles and you mash them into one. So I used the Duck Dynasty one we did in episode 100, where I'd come up with a clue, and then you do and Wheel of Fortune. You take two game titles and mash them together. So Duck Dynasty, Warrior 7, right? Dynasty Warrior 7 plus Duck Dynasty. So last week's the clue was the seasonal sequel of simulated events in preparation for the upcoming Olympic Games. Perhaps Pyeongchang 2018 will feature Lord Nasher's representatives from Faerun of the Forgotten Realms. And Kronos was the first person to send that one into my private Discord chat. He got it correct. It was Neverwinter Sports 2, the next challenge. Obviously, Neverwinter is, and
nice.
Winter Sports 2, the next challenge. So this week's is the clue. Ready? The ultimate turf war. East side of the galaxy versus west side of the galaxy. Featuring Kanye's massive empire and rebels like Lil Wayne. That's it, folks. That's all you need. So send me any in my Discord chat, discord.me/Freamhole. Send me a private message with what you think the answer is. I think we put the clue into the show notes on the page z2z.com, so you can actually read it. You might as well just rewind about 2 minutes from when I finish talking now, and you can hear it again. But let's talk about what we've been playing, because presumably we've played some games in this last week, especially since many of us haven't had to work due to the Thanksgiving holiday. I want to start with Proulx, because you said you had Friendsgiving. Did you get any friend gaming in, or any other long overdue achievements that you've been working on this last week? What have you been up to?
Well, we did play. We had, like I said, some friends over, and we played at something that was mentioned earlier today on the show. We played some of the Jackbox games, because I love those games, and they're so much fun. And there were achievements to be had too. I think I completed Jackbox 1, but we were playing 2 and 3, so we got a few achievements in there just naturally playing. And I mean, what do you know? You just get achievements for playing games sometimes, and that was great. It was pretty awesome. It wasn't too many or anything, but it was fun. God, those games are so good in a party setting, like a literal party setting. Just
right.
Great to just put on, and hey, if 4 of you want to pay attention to this, just pull out your phone. They're really well designed, and they're really fun, and people just have a blast going through them. So that's what we did on Friendsgiving specifically, but 99.9% of my gaming time this past week has been centered on Marvel Heroes Omega, because the servers were... We talked about this last week, and they said Disney pulled the license from Gazillionaire, who were the developers, and
right.
They said the servers are going down. The servers are going down December 31st. Oh no. So we were all already kind of in like semi-panic mode. Like, we have a month and a week to kind of get this done. Like, we should probably, that's going to put your butt to the fire and get you going on it. Well, there were rumors early on this week. Oh, by the way, it's not December 31st. It's in fact Friday. It was going to be yesterday.
By the way, I hope you didn't have anything going on.
So, wow. Okay. So, and even now it's pretty unclear what the situation is, because the PC servers shut down yesterday on the 25th.
I didn't know that actually went down.
Yeah.
I was talking to Koosh about it, but he was playing on the Xbox. So
the Xbox and the PC servers are still up as of right now, with no indication whether... Basically, there are rumors that they were supposed to be shut down yesterday. The only official word we've gotten is it's going to be up until December 31st. what it seems to be is a combination of the two. Basically, Gazillionaire is done. Like, there's no employees anymore. Everybody got cut off, laid off and fired, obviously, and they don't have like their severance packages or their health insurance or anything. It basically seems like they left their building with the servers running. That's kind of the best that we can tell right now. So it basically it comes down to what happens first? Is the utility going to cut the power to the building, or is whoever now has who's ever in charge of the inventory is going to come and pull the plugs from the servers? We don't know. It's a long holiday weekend, so it's likely not going to be now, but it could be Monday. It could be Friday. It could be 2 weeks from now. It could even be December 31st, like they said. But basically, it's a mad dash.
Yeah, you're on borrowed time.
We're on borrowed time.
It might even be done by the time this comes out.
It could be. They could be down now, for all I know. So that has been my number one priority, obviously. And to be fair, it's also been, my win of the week was the fact that I expected it to be done Friday night, and I've got a couple, 2 or 3 achievements today in the game. So, and that's what I'm going to keep doing as well, is push on Marvel Heroes, because who knows how much time that you're going to have to get this stuff done. So how far are you into all of that? Like, are you making good progress? Are you? Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm about between 35 and 40 hours into the game, and I am at 650, 660, 670 or something like that.
Okay.
Out of the 1,030 or whatever you can get in it. The one achievement's been glitched for months and months, which is the get all the other achievements achievement.
Oh God, those are the worst.
I know. Why do they even keep putting them in? It's so frustrating. I don't expect to get. I would, if I got 100 more points, I would be very happy. Like I said, I'm already happy because I already have 75 more points from when they said the servers were going to shut down. Basically, it's just every other achievement's kind of a bit of a grind.
Right.
So you pick and choose. What do I think I can get done as quick as possible? Or can I stack? Can I get pushed towards 2 achievements before everything shuts down? So we don't know. So I'm going to keep doing that. That's what I'm going to keep working on. But other than that, it's not the only thing I've played. I played some Telltale stuff I finished New Frontier for the first time, and almost caught up on Minecraft Story Season 2. And that's about it. Oh, one more thing I want to mention. Yesterday, or the day before, I can't remember, I picked up The Sims 4, which just released for the Xbox One. And I was very upset about this game because, my girlfriend and I wanted to play it together, and we picked it up, and we got into the character creation screen. And we made our family, our group here, to play the game.
Barkamedes as well?
What's that?
And Barkamedes? Is he
no,
in the game?
Well, you can't have pets, but we haven't gotten that far yet. But it was me and my girlfriend, and then...
Well, I mean, you waited a while to get Barkamedes in real life, so,
Exactly. Yeah. So, you create these characters, and then we started to go into our home, and once you get through the character creation section and move into your house, it defaulted us to default characters. All the time that we spent giving our characters attributes and physical characteristics all thrown down the toilet. It wasn't a ton of time, but it was 30, 45 minutes or something.
Yeah.
So we had to go back. Anyways, I rage tweeted EA because why is this game broken? I just spent all this money on it. But very early on, I haven't even gotten an achievement yet in The Sims 4, but I'm hoping the rest of the game is not as poorly developed as the beginning, because we really spent some time trying to fix that. But anyways, other than that, that was it for me. Those are all the games I've been playing.
Gotcha. Awesome. Elroy, what are you up to?
Oh.
You have a win of the week? You gotta love to hear what's been your focus. When did you finish? When did you get your 25? By the way, was it before Thanksgiving, obviously, but
my 25?
Yeah, on the RM to-do list.
Oh, I got that. Let's see. You mean my full combo? Yes, and so
combo.
My combo, and so I got that. Oh shoot, that was last Sunday. So I think it was on the 18th, 19th, something like that. So I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, I believe it was on the 19th. So
okay.
Yeah, and so I've had a few days to decompress and start to find another love. So I guess my win of the week would be holding the world record in MULE. That didn't happen this week, but every week that you hold the world record is a win.
It's a good week. Yeah,
yes.
I gotcha.
And so, I did. I got Assassin's Creed Origins for $29. I think we covered that topic fairly well. And so, but it does bring into light the whole devaluation of games, and I think that maybe this show should talk about that sometime because that's such a new topic that needs to be discussed. That was sarcasm. And so, other than that, I see. What have I been playing? I've been playing Make It Rain. Woof. That is
Make It Rain.
Make It Rain. Yeah. So
I love that game.
The phone action.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if the portion of the 200 points that I have achieved thus far was worth the wear and tear on my monitor screen. Before I realized that you could use an auto hotkey script to kind of accomplish the same thing, rather than use one of your students sitting on a bus next to you on your way down to New Orleans. But that's either here or there. A win of the week for me was also that my nephew was in town. They came down to visit, and so it's kind of a tradition for us is that we play a game and beat a game every Thanksgiving together. And so it's a cool little tradition. And it, in no way, shape, or form allows me to, is an excuse to not talk to everybody downstairs where all the grown-ups are. It's
right.
I assure you that it's just a tradition, and it has nothing to do with that. And so, we played through Lego Movie, the Lego Movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Everything was awesome.
One.
Yeah, it was the one.
Okay.
And everything was awesome. Everything was cool when I was part of that team. That was said ad nauseum in that game. It was actually kind of funny. We skipped all the cutscenes because we just enjoyed not knowing what was going on. And then we played AER, Memories of Old.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, and
it's a pretty new game.
Yeah, so it just kind of flew around aimlessly. I did not see any enemies whatsoever. I think it's just you versus the air, and also the yeah. I only fell to my death once, and it locked up the game. I don't think you were supposed to do that. I just wanted to see what would happen if you just turn into a human over nothing and fall into the abyss. It turns bright and it locks up your Xbox is what it does, and so I don't suggest that. I guess they never anticipated that someone would actually let someone fall into the abyss. So I don't know. And then other than that, I've just played a cornucopia of terrible ACA games. Most notably Soccer Brawl. I just started that one today. As a connoisseur of the ACA catalog, I must say that Soccer Brawl looked oddly familiar to Super Sidekicks, except for they just added robots and punching. But I can't prove that. And so, but my personal favorite was Karnov's Revenge.
That was an old Nintendo game, wasn't it?
Karnov was, yeah. It's a chubby, fire-breathing Russian dude.
Yep.
Yeah, and
that was like one of the first games I ever beat.
Oh, really? Well,
that's an accomplishment. I don't remember if it like chronologically fits that, but like I do have very fond memories of putting a ridiculous amount of time into that Nintendo game and accomplishing that epic win of beating it.
Oh, wow.
But so that holds a special place in my heart.
Wow, I had no idea. Well, you should definitely try Karnov's Revenge because he's back and he's ready to fight. And so basically, it's kind of like a Street Fighter type game in which you strip all the fun out of it and all the good mechanics and just make it a hot mess. That was basically Karnov's revenge. And so, yeah, I have a bold statement for you. I'm going to say right here, right now, on this podcast, that it might rival Sengoku as the worst fighting ACA game yet released.
Oh, boy.
That's a tall order.
I know it. Bold statement. You heard it here first. And other than that, that's pretty much my wins of the week. And
nice.
So now it's just time to actually play a little Assassin's Creed before December.
There you go. I've been working on my UHH stuff, so I've been kind of dabbling around in multiple things. Playing a little Live Lock, some Letter Quest. Obviously, Diablo 3 came up, which was kind of fun because we'd almost finished Act 2, and on the UHH was beat Osmodan on Act 3, and I was like, oh, come on, guys. Tonight, we got to do it. Like, this is the week. Let's just, heads down and plow through this act. And so we did. That was super fun. Not my win of the week, though. I did a little Ori in the Blind Forest. Nice. And unfortunately, and I should have brought up a walkthrough. This was dumb of my part because I was in the Misty Forest, and that's one of the areas of which you cannot return.
Oh,
so yes. I was at this secret, and I was like, I forgot that I was embroiled in this forest, and so I saw it, and I was like, oh, I'll just come back to it later. And I can't come back to it later. So my 100% run is now totally effed, but I still enjoy the game. So I doubt I would ever actually get to completion anyway. I'm just not feeling like I want to put in the supersonic run or the no abilities run or any of that kind of stuff. That sounds like something that's a little above my pay grade. So I'm gonna skip those. The games my win of the week, I'm going to put this on my win of the week, is in iZombie. I picked it because I needed an eye for Chin Doctor for the Gamertag Challenge for the month, and I was unlocking all 90 stars in that game. And so I was actually in a party chat with Koosh Moose last night, and he got to hear me rage through those last 10 stars or whatever. Man, that was just obnoxious. So, but I'm happy that's relatively done. Now I just need to shave off about 90 seconds from all the different levels to pull that thing under for those last two achievements and time-wise. Final two games I want to talk about. I've been putting a lot of time into Rogue Legacy. This is one of my favorite roguelike games. And actually I was showing my son about it. I happened to be playing it, and he saw it. He was like, what the heck is this thing? So I was explaining to him how weird it was and how quirky all the the bad traits you get. So my UHH achievement in this one was to unlock all of the buildings in the castle. And I had been putting a ton of time into this already, and so I was pretty close. I just had 2 wings of the building yet to open, but you had to get $6,000 to open them up, which is a pretty good run. I mean, you have to be pretty judicious, or you just you just chipping away at it and not buying anything in between. But I'm still trying to make some progress in the game, and so I made a run at it, and finally when I got enough money, I unlocked that piece of the building, got the achievement. I was like, you know what, I'm feeling pretty good. Let's see if I can go beat that third boss in this castle. And he being the tower, the flame dude. And boy, that was a tough boss. It was super fun and super rewarding to beat that, But I got to beat it, and my son got to watch, and we had that call down from the wife to say, all right, hey, we got to go do something, finish up. And I'm like, just one more run. Those are always super satisfying, and that led us into the next game, which is a series of those types of boss fights. And it is Cuphead. So I bought Cuphead, and my son and I started playing it this morning. He needs a lot more practice. It's a little too precise for him. He's still of the mindset where he's not looking at the full screen, and he thinks if I just move my character to one of the corners or the sides, they can't hit me. And I keep telling him these guys have absolutely thought of that. You cannot hide. You have to be quick with the joystick. You got to be moving and using your dodges and dashes and getting through this. So I think we've only played 3 levels. We only beat 2 levels because we're trying to do it together. So that first run and gun level that you see with like the flowers and stuff, it took us, I don't know, 20 some tries to get through that. But we went through that one, and we beat the first boss, the blue slime, which also took us like 20 some tries to do. And then just got super hung up on the Zeppelin lady, Hildeberg. Anyway, that game is super great, super tight. And the one thing that's a big pain in the butt, and I'm not sure if anybody has these experiences too with like their platformers, because this happens on Rogue Legacy too. For some reason, when I hit the left arrow, like the left directional, it doesn't respond that tight. Like, so I'll hit left and the rebound of the stick will push it back to the right. And so like I might look left for a second, but then I automatically rebound and look to the right. And so that throws off the whole thing. Thankfully in Cuphead, you can hold down R bump and just, shoot straight left. But I don't know. I feel like either I'm not gentle enough with my release, or my stick has permanent, drift inwards, because I'm always, I mean, it's always like you're always moving right in the games, and so like, is it just hardwired into moving right? Anyway, the game is great. I'm excited to keep working through it. I don't know how long I'm going to like hold off and not play. Like, if I should just start a separate save and kind of go on my own, or like if I should keep trying to do the co-op action. But man, that game is super fun. I'm really excited. And if you didn't, so it was on there was a new egg sale this weekend. You can get it for like $15. I fully expect this game to be $15 for the Game Awards. This clearly is going to be nominated. It's already nominated. I made a list of all the nominated games, and I looked back at 2017's nominated games, and all of them were on sale pretty much. I think of the let's say 40 games that were nominated, Xbox put 35 of them on sale. And they weren't crazy, right? Especially even new games, they weren't that crazy. But there were some of those new games that were dropped as low as 30% off, 40% off. And, if they're Microsoft, they dropped them 50%. But so I don't know where Cuphead's going to fall, but I anticipate it being around that $15 mark. Man, is it worth it. That game is so good. So keep an eye out. I think Game Awards are first full week in December. So what is that, the 7th? Is that Thursday? Anyway, that's when I would expect that sale to be in action. And you should buy it. So
is Turtles Quest going to be available for that late push for that Game Award?
The Game of the Year
nomination? I mean, does it have to be active in the store in order to be eligible?
I'm not sure if discontinued games count. Well, is it even considered discontinued, or is it simply, back in the oven for just being cooked a little longer?
In my view, I mean, the only thing that can result from such would be overcooking it, because I think it's just it's got the right amount of dough on it right now. And so I think that they just need to release it, give it back to the people. The people will clearly want this game,
right? And
they just need to give it back to them. I'm just the people's champion here, and
nice.
I try to give people a voice, and I think I'm pretty locked in on this one. Pretty close.
I like to hear that. Now, let me ask you then, because it sounds as though being a voice of the people, that you might have some things that the people want to hear about, that some maybe topics of discussion that are near and dear to your heart. Do such things exist? I went through a lot of them, but I didn't get to. I didn't get to talking about yellow lights, about how they operate. You're driving down a road, and so you see a yellow light, and you don't know how long it's supposed to last. Right.
And so some of them seem like they last longer. Some of them seem like they last shorter. Well, apparently there's a push to standardize this. And so it's all based on the speed limit of the road in which the stoplight is on. So apparently a loose guideline is that you have 10 miles per hour equals 1 second. So,
Okay.
yeah. So if a light is on a road that 50 miles per hour, you should have a 5-second yellow light. And if it's 35, you get 3.5 seconds. And so this can vary by the city and state in which it's in. Apparently, Chicago's been playing around with these, but I'm sure that won't be any surprise.
Is that legit? Like,
Yeah.
so if I went and timed my lights here and I found them to be non-standard, like, could I write a strongly worded email to my congressman or?
Well, there's a push for it.
Okay.
And so apparently they're wanting to standardize it, and there's a whole commission, and there's even a formula. It's very fancy. I lost the formula, but it looked like very advanced math, and I am just
You're a teacher.
Lots of variables. Yeah, I've seen stuff like that before, and it was very complex. But I think what it comes down to is the 10 miles per hour per second rule is in play. And so I found that fascinating.
That's super interesting. Now, let me ask, your street lights, and Proulx, you can answer this too, are they vertically oriented, where red light is on top, yellow,
Yes.
and then green on the bottom?
We're not barbarians, so yes.
Yes.
So I want to hear from, and maybe this is a call out to all. I know specifically Fug lives in Wisconsin, but when I was in school in Wisconsin, they have lights that are horizontally orientated, and so you would have, and I don't even know which side of the is red or green, if it's left or right, but I would imagine that somebody who is colorblind could struggle traveling through the state of Wisconsin, given that, the top light means stop and the bottom light means go, that somebody has told you that at some point. So then when you come to these weird horizontal ones, like, you're just going to die.
Well,
because,
I mean, I think that's unfair, because you're coming at it from a perspective of somebody who has had the top to bottom. If you come at this from a perspective of somebody who doesn't know either, who has never been ingratiated into either of those ecosystems, you wouldn't know. If you were completely colorblind, you couldn't differentiate between any colors, and you came to a stoplight, and you knew, red or whatever. Red means stop, yellow means caution, green means go, but you couldn't tell, and you saw there was a vertical one or a horizontal one, you wouldn't know the difference. So I think to be fair, I think it's...
What are you talking about? You would know the difference. Oh, I agree. But I'm saying, like, me as a Minnesotan is saying, oh, yeah, I got to go visit my relative in Wisconsin. And I've learned to drive with my monochromatic vision here in Minnesota or everywhere else in the world.
Well, no. I think the horizontal based... In my travels, it's come to my attention that the horizontal based stoplights are fairly common. If I don't know how much, I have no idea. This is all anecdotal.
What a bunch of savages.
But it's like all in the Southwest, all in California. Like, maybe it's a Western thing, but it is quite common. Florida,
weird old
I believe,
Wisconsin.
Florida also has it. It all depends. One thing I wanted to say about standardizing the stoplights back home in, middle of nowhere, upstate New York, yellow lights lasted like maybe 5 seconds, 6 seconds or 7 seconds. Here, now that I'm in a busier area near the Capitol, yellow lights are 2 to 3 times longer, easily. So maybe
really? I thought you were gonna say like blink of an eye.
No. Maybe it's more based on volume of traffic than speed limit.
Well, don't even give me
the mass of humanity too, if they have to cross, right? Because I've seen those like don't walk signs with the countdown timer, and so I'll see the yellow go, and it's like for a good 10 seconds, like, listen, idiots, get out of the road. We're gonna send cars through here now. I don't think it actually says that, but that's what I feel.
The turn light, like if you're trying to turn left, I think it was in Missouri, and I saw something bizarre. It was like a flashing arrow of some sort. I had never seen that before. It was quite bizarre, but it meant that you have to turn with caution. So it wasn't a solid green light, where you...
Oh, yeah. We just had one of those put up by my house. Like, if it's late at night.
Yeah.
And it's like, usually it's green arrow, but they're like, okay, there's not enough traffic at 8 p.m. on a Sunday, so take a left whenever you feel like you need to. Just watch out for another car. They're not stopping.
Yeah, it's chaos out there.
Have you ever seen, when I was at school, because in Madison, it's such a walking campus that, it was not good for people in cars. It was totally obnoxious. And so people just tried to get through as best they could. And so, I saw at least probably once a month, like someone would be taking that right turn. And so they'd be looking left to make sure no cars are coming. And they'd take that right turn and boom, smash into somebody, but like, and just kind of tap them. And you have somebody land on the hood of the car or whatever. Oh my God, that was terrifying. I would be so pissed. Anyway, awesome. We have some other feedback items. Elroy, we can come back to you if you have anything else, but I want to touch on a thing here we got from Reset42. And you had actually mentioned this with you and The Sims there, Proulx. But he was wondering do you think that with the increased character models in games, that celebrity actor licenses will become more commonplace? And is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like having Kevin Spacey in Advanced Warfare, or Kit Harington in whatever the new one was. Do you think that those are going to be issues with character likenesses?
What an interesting concept. I don't know. It's like, no, I don't think it'll be an issue because celebrity voiceover likenesses for animation films are not an issue. I think maybe it's a stunt thing that people were trying to do for a little while. There also was, I can't remember the actor's name now, but he also played Luke Cage, who was in Halo 5. No, I think that's kind of a thing that maybe they were experimenting with and playing with. It may be easier to do that sort of animation than to create your own character wholesale, but I think that it'll be, in the long run, it'll be better for studios and actors and voice actors to kind of differentiate the actor from the character. There's no. I was going to say, like, do those characters fall under like the Screen Actors Guild versus the Voice Actors Guild? Like, even though they're lending their voice, it's like the mocap work and like actually the physically acting and the the digitizing of the face and stuff. So like Cole Phelps, right? Does he does he get paid as part of, like, is he part of the Screen Actors Guild, and that's what covers him, and so he gets paid in a different way than the voice actors who just do strictly voice work for made up characters, the Troy Bakers of the world. That's an interesting question. I'm thinking of like Tom Hanks for Woody, kind of a situation as well. Like, oh God, the guy who played Smeagol in Lord of the Rings. That's an interesting question. If you play mocap for a character that you're portraying, where do you fall? And I have no idea. I don't have any insider information in that, but
I don't either.
I don't. I think I like the Kevin Spacey thing, which for Call of Duty, of course, now in hindsight is regrettable. I imagine that sort of thing is stunt casting and mildly beneficial at the time, but I think over time we're going to see less of that. Even though it was never really a big push, there was never really a giant push for it. I think it's kind of just going to be a blip on the radar. Like, oh, hey, remember when they like tried to put real actors in these games and it was weird, and it was always weird. And
you go ahead, Elroy.
Yes, I mean, to me, it's not always been weird. I've enjoyed several of them. With the Tales of the Borderland with Chris Hardwick, I thought he did an excellent job as I think it was Vaughn, the little dude, ripped dude. So I think that it could be well done, and I had a few suggestions for some castings as far as I was thinking of the ACA catalog. We got to get the ACA out there and have more people. I think there's some really good material there for some movie franchises, and so I think the best bet that they could go with, and I reviewed all 41 of my games, and I think it has to be Robo Army. Robo Army. It was a close second with Mutation Nation because they are basically the same game, except for one they're robots and the other one they're mutants. But I was thinking The Rock cast as the protagonist, but then I started thinking
The Rock can be everything, though. That's the
right.
problem.
And so
I
started thinking. Wait a minute, and then I thought of Magician Lord, and I thought Ian McKellen taking the lead.
Gandalf?
Oh, yes. I think, granted, he might be typecast if he was to accept such role, but I think at the end, the world would be better.
I can see it. I look at... Oh, go ahead, Proulx.
I'm sorry, and this is slightly unrelated, but also slightly related. Just because I have to inject this as often as possible. Just this past week, Dwayne Johnson, of course, The Rock, who Elroy just mentioned, he kind of credited, rightly so, Star Trek with starting out his acting career because he appeared. His first acting gig was on Star Trek Voyager. It was a cross-promotional appearance when the UPN had both Star Trek and wrestling. And he actually mentioned it. And he on Twitter this past week, he's like, thanks for, and it's a stupid wrestling episode of Star Trek. It's a terrible episode of Star Trek. But anyways, it was his first acting gig, and he didn't have very many lines. But now he's one of the biggest, massivest, screen stars there is. So it just credit where credit is due is all I'm saying.
You know what I watched today? Galaxy Quest.
Oh, so
and my wife was like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Oh my god, we've watched this before. It's brilliant."
Yeah, it's amazing.
Anyway, no. So what I wanted to get back to was the facial stuff. Like, I don't have any problem with using real actors to do voiceover work. That's great. I think the main issue is when, like Proulx had mentioned, is when they use their visual likeness, so that the character also visually represents this actor, and I think it is weird. Like, I don't like it, and especially now that our video games are getting so tight and cutting edge with the graphics that you're blurring that line of reality, and so they're almost looking too real, and then they become hard to distinguish from, like, oh yeah, that's the guy from American Beauty, or like, oh, that's the guy from Game of Thrones, and it changes then, and in light of recent events, right? Kevin Spacey in that game, probably not a great thing because some things came up. You might not want to be associated with that anymore. Might
be a whole new set of achievements.
There you go. And so I think you'll kind of get away from that type of thing. Even from a movie standpoint, there was remember when the Christmas Story came, or not a Christmas Story, whatever the Ebenezer Scrooge one is called, Christmas Carol, and it was the Jim Carrey one. And so it looked like Jim Carrey, and animated Jim Carrey as an old guy, or then when they kind of changed him around to be whatever. I was like, yeah, it's just kind of weird. Like, I don't really want it to look like the actor. Like, could you just make somebody fresh, like somebody who's not? Because I like the voice, right? And I appreciate the way he can act, but I don't want to associate with other works that they've done, because this is a wholly new experience, and I feel like it should be treated as such. Even with like Disney movies, there's some of those lines with and I feel guilty when I do this to my kids, but like every time I hear a voice and I'm like, oh, this is the same voice of this person, trying to draw a parallel to that. Like one came up today, the Trolls movie. We watched the Trolls Christmas that aired yesterday, right the day after Thanksgiving. And there's that, I don't know if you guys have seen the Trolls movie, but there's the weird lady troll.
I don't know what the trolls are.
Yeah, with the crazy hair. And her voice is... I was like, oh, that's Zooey Deschanel, and my kids don't know who that is. And so when we were hanging Christmas ornaments today on the tree, her holiday song came on Pandora, and I was like pointing at the TV. I'm like, that girl on the left, that's the voice of Bridget in your little show. And I'm like, okay, did I just ruin their experience? Like they have a human that, you know, they do that in movies all the time where like they'll show you the voice actors filming and how they're emoting while they're doing the part. Like you said, Tom Hanks in Toy Story, right? You can watch Tom Hanks doing the voice reading of Woody or Tim Allen as Buzz or whatever and see the characters emoting as themselves. And like, does that break the immersion if you can picture them as a human being and not in this entity? I don't know.
Mike Tyson was amazing in Street Fighter.
Was he in Street Fighter?
He was a boxer. He played himself. M. Bison.
Balrog?
Oh. Well, originally he was M. Bison, but yeah, that sounded too much like M. Tyson. So. Yeah.
I don't think that's how the lore goes.
But yeah, I really felt it. In that brief cutscene where he talked trash after beating me,
he was a jerk. That dude threw his cape on the floor. Yeah, what a jackwagon.
No case.
Elroy, do you have any other hot topics from the community before we move into our next piece of friend feedback? Another Reset 42 question?
Not necessarily. I guess one little thing. I thought, you being the big walking or zombie, I assume by extension, Walking Dead person, and I thought, there's a real opportunity for someone out there to come up with a after party show of sorts for your podcast that would air directly after your podcast called The Talking Zed. And so in the Talking Zed, they would highlight clips from the show and really dissect it and, maybe have a few guests on that talk about the direction it was going. And
my long rambling diatribes.
Yeah, and they could, grade them and on a Fream scale. And
Big L did something similar to that. He did in the Discord chat, did a review of the episodes and would talk about, the highs and lows and where we rambled and what was dumb, and typically always focused on the negative. That seems to be his MO, but
yeah, he mentioned that. We were I was shooting the idea off him and
Talking Zeds. I like it.
So
I like it.
There you go.
And let's head back to the community for this question. Another Reset 42 question. This was actually given to us a while back, a few weeks ago, and we're going to get to it now. What game, and actually, Elroy, you kind of even brought this up too. What game, well, no, you didn't. You went the other way with it. What game did you earn an achievement in and then revisited in the longest gap? This one says, what game have you owned for the longest time before you finally tried it and loved it? What game has been sitting there just collecting dust, and you're like, I'm not looking forward to playing that thing. And then all of a sudden it's like, why didn't I play this? This thing is great. Do you have anything, Elroy, for this one?
Oh, absolutely. You got to go 100% Banjo and Kazooie on that. It's been sitting there to this very day, and I still haven't tried it and loved it.
Oh, get off the show. Get off.
That's cold. That's cold.
Yeah, that's all I had.
Gotcha. Proulx, what about you? Do you have anything that you just been sitting on and haven't really given the time of day?
There's a slight bending of the question for me. Like, I didn't specifically own the game, but I had been encouraged and kind of prodded and poked to play Rocket League for ages. I had a friend who I still constantly play Rocket League with, who was like, guys, you need to get this. You need to play this. You're going to love it. It's going to be great. I promise. And then when I finally picked up the game, obviously I've talked a lot about how much I love Rocket League. It's not like there's no secret here. If I had picked it up the 4 or 5 months earlier when he first suggested it, I just would have had 4 or 5 months more to play Rocket League. So it's on me. I didn't specifically own the game, but and there may be other games that I had owned that I didn't play for a long time. There probably are, but the one that sticks out to me is, hey, I could have been playing Rocket League earlier, and I just wasn't. So,
yeah, one that jumps out to me, and I got a couple, but one I'll let Elroy talk, is BioShock.
Oh,
I've owned BioShock for ages, and I've heard so many people talk about the accolades of this game and how quintessential it is to their gaming history. Like, oh, there's amazing. You got to play it and stuff. And to me, it was always like, I mean, the game cannot be that good. Like, so many people are talking it up. Like, I really have reservations about starting this because I feel like I'm just getting set up for disappointment. That the expectations are too high, and I want to do it in one playthrough, so I'll be looking at a guide. Is that going to ruin my experience, kind of thing? Totally did not. It absolutely did not ruin the experience. And playing through and going through that and feeling those types of, and now granted, even as dated as it is, it still holds up so incredibly well. And so that one is one that, I had sat on for ages and finally got around to doing it, and it is well worth my time. I enjoyed that thoroughly. Elroy, you were going to add something.
Oh, yes. I just wanted to piggyback on Proulx's game and say that I have some breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, late breaking. I bought Rocket League.
Nice.
I did. It was only $10. The Black Friday sale, so I had to do it.
Hang on. Elroy, how much do you pay for each ACA game?
Oh, God. Well, apparently, let's see, hang on. $327.59 divided by 41 equals $7.99.
Okay. So you paid $3 more for a game that is literally 1,000 times better than any of those other games that you're going to play.
But I know, my understanding is Rocket League is like soccer with cars and everything. See,
yeah.
I bought a game where you have robots. I mean, robots. And they are punching and shooting each other and scoring soccer goals. It's amazing. So, I mean, don't discount that ACA just yet.
I'm going to.
Another game I hadn't played in ages and it was Destiny when that first came out. I was a late comer to that, and the only reason I got it was because of that crazy trade-in deal at Microsoft where they're giving you like $10 toward a new game for any game that you subbed in. And so I on a whim got Destiny. And so I was like, I don't know if I'm going to start it yet or whatever. And then when I did, yes, very much liked it, much to Proulx's dismay. It was, that sucked a huge ton of my life away from me.
Never played it.
It's addictive. So yeah, those are some great titles there for things. Now we got one more question here from Skeptical Mario. This is another old one that we're going to revisit. It was he wants to hear a story about how you dodged a bullet or got burned with respect to discontinued achievements. His was that he preloaded level 20 in Game Room. And sure enough, Game Room is goneskis. So that one's stuck, I believe, for him in limbo. Proulx, do you have anything of these where you either got, had it discontinued or... Because you don't necessarily preload, right?
No. God, that's... No. No, I don't... This... It's an interesting question. Like, I can't even imagine, or I can't remember a specific time that I had a fortunate avoidance of a shutdown of anything. I tend to not be super concerned with those sorts of things. I'll get what I can out of games, and I won't try to push it. So I don't preload anything, and I don't generally avoid things if there are things that I can't get. So. It's a tougher question for me. There may be a time that I just happened to have good timing on something and got it right before it shut down, but I probably wouldn't have been paying attention while it was getting shut down, if that makes any sort of sense. Well, actually, I just talked about it today. What's being fortunate for me now is the fact that Marvel Heroes is still staying up while I'm trying to get these achievements. So I guess that would be probably the most appropriate answer for that question.
Yeah, I got you. Elroy, do you have Do you have an answer here?
Yeah, the one that comes to my mind is the Xbox Fitness app. I discovered that app not too long ago, and I had no idea it was even there, and it was free. And I'm a pretty fit guy, and so I was like, wow, I can get my workout in and get achievements. And then I found out that just about the time I started enjoying it, I found out they were shutting it down. And I don't know if they shut it down since. I haven't gone back to it. I was so upset. But, yeah, so I feel like I got those just in time. I'm sure that there was quite a little window there that I would have had extra, but it felt like it to me. And so that would be my best answer.
Yeah, I gotcha. Mine was the word. What the hell word game was that one? It's the phone game where you got to do those shapes and you got the frenemies board. No, it's on the phone. That's not Wordament. It's the other one. Snap Attack. Yeah, Microsoft Snap Attack. I was like, you know what? I should go back and revisit this and just clean up these achievements. It'll be great. And when I decided to, I have like 4 left or something. Like when I decided to do it, sure enough, hey, guess what? Doesn't sync anymore. Oh, so I hope that that's not a problem. And so bam, those are permanently locked out. Big old barf. Not happy about it. Typically, I mean, yeah, I don't preload my achievements, so I can't hold back the sensation of letting that toast come up. I want to see it. I tend to actually hold back on sleep, trying to make sure I get that achievement toast before I go to bed. But yeah, so Snap Attack burned me. I'm sure there's others. Actually, even most recently, they're not technically discontinued, but I had a few games that I don't have access to anymore that I need to go back and find access. Another World comes to mind, where I have a save game at the very end of that, and so like I feel it's going to be dumb when I have to pay like $2 or $3 just to play the last 3 minutes of that game. So that's going to be kind of stupid, but I've got to deal with that as well. I forgot one question here that I was on my friend feed from X Towers, and we should talk about this because it's always fun when something, you talked about it earlier with Elroy. Breaking records is great, and if you could be the world leader in something or the champion of something, like hold your head high, unless that is the world record in the most downvoted subreddit ever. And I bet you can guess, given light of recent events, what is take the cake. But I wanna go through. I didn't realize this exists here. And so if you go to our show notes, z2z.com, and look up this, there is and you can even look it up on your free time. Reddit.com, the subreddit list of comments, and in there is the wiki of most downvoted subreddits, and so they have a score of the cumulative minuses here. And so, like, let me just grab one here, right? So let's see, they have it broken down with the score, and you can click on the comment that has the most downvoted, the subreddit where it was from, the reason that for the downvotes, and is there a user of note who did this, and then there's some notes on it. And so like let me give you the previous one. It's in the subreddit Me in Real Life, and the reason for the downvotes, literally ask for them. I believe the comment was, please downvote this. I'm not going to click on it, but please downvote this link. User of note, no, he's just some random dude wanted the downvotes. And the note says the original post wanted downvotes, most downvoted comment for 2 months. He just wanted to be on the top of the list. Good for you. The one just below that was in the subreddit of League of Legends. The reason for the downvotes was that a Riot member in the middle of a riot. The user of note was a lead on Riot. Riot Games obviously is the one who makes League of Legends, and the notes were somehow never the most downvoted comment. I don't know what that means, but these are just kind of some things. The subreddit, the Donald, you can imagine what that would be. There's some of the reasons for downvotes, political views, some profanity, trolling, I mean, all these kind of different things. Well, so here it is. That score that literally asked for them the most downvoted for 2 months, the record holder for 2 months with a negative 24,333 downvotes. That was the original record holder. The current record holder now, so it went from negative 24,000 downvotes to negative 683,000. Okay? This is an astronomical negative. The gap here is obscene. And sure enough, it is in the subreddit Star Wars Battlefront. The reason for the downvote, and the user of note here is an EA representative. The reason for the downvotes is, ripping people off, and then the brigade came in and just went nuts. Like, they saw this as like, first you start ripping us off, now you're going to pay. The notes are that this actually now is no longer, like, they haven't taken it off. They're going to let it just ride. The notes say that score will be updated and other comments will be added. They have not banned this post from happening because they want to make a message, prove a point, and say, people are not happy with your microtransaction model. It is gross. It is obscene. Reconsider. I even saw an article on Kotaku, but essentially saying the same thing. Game developers are reconsidering their stance on microtransactions because they can't afford this level of negativity. It's not to say that microtransactions are going to go away. They're definitely not. They're too lucrative for most people. But the way in which they implement them has to change. This pay-to-win garbage, not going to fly. Like, it is the most egregious way to fleece money out of people ever. Now, there are some correct ways to do it. I think we can all get on board with Rocket League. That I don't have a problem with their model. I liked Rocket League's model. Overwatch, well, now you're getting a little grayer, right? But cosmetic, just some of them are a little more rare than others, and they're totally random. There's that weird slippery slope. And of course, EA took it way, way, way too far, and they're getting absolutely abused by it. Have you guys downvoted this, right? Have you joined on the hog pile and downvoted this subreddit?
I was looking at it and I was curious why was popcorn tasting good so controversial?
The subreddit drama.
Yeah, that's like number 6. But
that's on the list.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that it was almost 30 times as much as the the second place vote. That's a sign of that's not good.
No. It's pretty darn obscene how negative it is. I mean, I can click on the comment here, and it's literally just this. So the original post was, seriously, I paid $80 to have Vader locked. And the EA guy said, well, the intent was to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes. As for cost, we selected initial values based upon data from the open beta and other adjustments made to milestone rewards before launch. Among other things, we're looking at average per-player credit earn rates on a daily basis. And we'll be making constant adjustments to ensure that players have challenges and that are compelling, rewarding, and, of course, attainable via gameplay. Of course. We appreciate the candid feedback and the passion of the community that has put forth on the current topics here on Reddit, our forums, and across numerous social media outlets. Our team will continue to make changes and monitor community feedback and update everyone as soon and as often as we can. Yeah, and that was it. That started it, and oh my God, this whole thread is on fire.
Yeah, Matt and Sean, they have some really good suggestions for them down in the comments on what they can do.
Oh, I'm excited to get to these. I'm curious what object they're referring to, and perhaps where that object should go.
Well, it's in a bag, apparently.
Oh, great. Yeah. That's I'm hoping it's as colorful as I'd like it to be. But yeah, I mean, like, 600,000 downvotes. Like, that's crazy. There's one on here from Ted E. Bear, and he says, "Update: We have taken your 600,000 downvotes into consideration, and after some discussion, we have determined that your feedback doesn't matter." That's kind of the feel.
At least they're honest.
That pulled that. I mean, that's obviously a joke, but that actually pulled me around to all the crap about net neutrality that's going on.
Hang on, Fream. Let me do this because I was just about to do it. I was literally just about to say I do not want to turn this political for the second week in a row, but I will.
Oh my god, I want to hear it because I am so pissed.
Yeah, this is a drop in the bucket. If you're not paying attention, if you're upset about what's happening with games and all of these pay to plays and all this stuff, imagine EA, right? In this scenario, is Comcast or Cox or any of
Time
these
Warner or whatever.
Yep, Time Warner, any of these, Verizon, any of these companies that you only have the ability to get to the internet through these companies. If EA was the only game company, they wouldn't even bother to put this quote, this thing up on Reddit to get downvoted into oblivion. They wouldn't even bother. They wouldn't have to.
What's the point?
There wouldn't be a point because you have to pay them either way. So please, people, we have 1.5 weeks essentially until this vote happens. Net neutrality is the most important thing for a good chunk of us. If you care about how the internet works now, it's going to break the internet. Things are going to change. I don't want to. This is not a political podcast, but this is so much bigger than what we're talking about now. Please get involved.
It is, but have you even seen, like, I read an article. What the hell? What site was this? It was like a reputable news site, and they're like, freaking. He's like, they discounted everybody's petition stuff because, of course, the people who care about the internet are pretty savvy, and so what they'll do is they'll just change. They'll do essentially a form letter because they want an easy way for people to say, "Look, I'm not happy about it," and so it's like, here's your congressman. Link to this. Click this. We'll give you something to help out with. Here's a call line. Here's the blah blah blah. And they said that they got 4 million people saying that they were against this, and like, well, yeah, but 60% of those all came from clearly fake addresses. And so, we're just going to discount them. We don't care because we don't have to. Look, people don't actually care. These are computers out there doing it. And they're like, whoa, hold on. If you actually take the time, and this was argued against it, but they said, well, no, it doesn't matter. This was argued against it, is that 98.2% of unique users negatively voted against the net neutrality thing. That they were unique users. So many people, when faced with this, do not want this because it is egregious. It is gross. It is just this distortion of capitalism. That they're going to say, no, it's going to be good for the internet. It'll be great because it promotes, competition, and how are you going to get the good sites, the well put together sites, if they're not trying to give you the best content? And all the service providers are going to do the same. It's under this huge guise of, oh no, this will be good for the internet. It'll be great. When in fact it's just big old this oligarchy, fat cat little buddy system going on saying, you know what, we're just going to tell you what you can see and what you can't see, and stuff that I don't really care about or that is offensive to me, I'm going to go ahead and just throttle their internet, or I'll just go ahead and I'll just censor that because I can. I don't have a problem. There's nothing stopping me now. I am just furious.
Remember, again, not to make this super political. Remember, the head of the FCC, the man who wants to rescind what happened in 2015 when net neutrality was commissioned, Ajit Pai, I think is his name, is literally a former lobbyist of these giant cable corporations. He stands to make a lot of money if these companies make a lot of money. So these sorts of this is more important than I don't care how you feel about those specific issues, but if you want the internet to be open, to be free, and this is as even as gamers, like this is super important, where we can, we're not going to be throttled for the things that we love to do. I mean, imagine if Comcast had an agreement with Sony, and you're a Comcast subscriber, and you're on your Xbox, you could easily be throttled down to, you're not part of our corporate subscribers here at this point, so you're going to be a 5 megabyte subscriber. This fundamentally changes how everything happens. What if Z to Z isn't a part of whatever? Anyways, this is very important. So please take the time, get involved, and put your voice. Like you said, Fream, there are plenty of ways that you can get your voice out there, and we are the people. And get it out there. We need to stop this from happening. Sorry,
December 14th is the day.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Vote's going.
I think that it's great that y'all are standing up for this, and that makes me think of number 10 on the list. That is negative 6,000 downvotes, which is cats standing up. And there's a lot that we can learn from cats standing up. If you click on that link, you're just going to be full with inspiration, and you'll take these words to heart, and you will act.
There you go. Brilliant. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up the show. I mean, as far as our part of it goes, I've got some other things I'll kick to, but I want to thank Elroy for being on the show. Elroy, was there anything else that you wanted to plug, to be a part of? You can plug your own segment, which, is here on the end. Anything else that you're interested in speaking to?
Well, it is past my bedtime, and
yeah, we kept you up real late.
Yeah, so I always wondered what the world looked like at this hour. And it's
dark.
It's kind of dark outside, and so just appreciate all the feedback everyone's been given on our young segment. Special thanks to Big L. He's kind of my spirit animal, and we have been enjoying doing that segment together, and so hopefully we'll keep it up, and maybe we'll get some imaging. Maybe have a little intro. Like that cool deep voice that introduces the show. Maybe we'll get something like that. There's a review Z one. I'm just pointing out a few things here. But maybe we'll get some imaging and be a recurring segment. But we appreciate the feedback that everyone's given us. And I appreciate y'all letting me on tonight. I really enjoyed it. So
yeah, it was fun. It was nice to have a new voice, get to know you a little bit, get your backstory. So that's been great. I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's been great being part of the episode that finally be episode 24.
There you go. Fantastic. And so yeah, that was Elroy. Did you want to, if you don't, that's fine, but you can tell people where they can find you, or if they just want you to bother you in the Discord chat, they could do that too. I'll leave that up to you.
I apparently I can have friends on TA. I didn't know about this until recently, so I guess you can find me there. You can find, basically you can type in the words ElroyOMJ. You can find me anywhere because I've had that same tag since my BBS days, and you're really poor at the internet if you can't find me using ElroyOMJ. I'm on, Xbox, YouTube, Facebook.
Your Google foo is real weak.
Yeah, you can't find me, then I think that's on you.
Nice. And of course, you got Proulx. Proulx, where can people track you down?
You can find me on Twitter at OneUpDan. That's the number 1, not the word.
Delightful. And I've been Freamhole. Twitter's one of the best, at Freamhole, FREAMWHOLE. Of course, you can contact us through the show. And you should come and talk with us over at my Discord channel, discord.me/Freamhole. And, Elroy's done with the RTDL, but man, we have a lot of other contests. You'll hear about them at the end of this episode, because there's more content after, I kick these guys out of here. So you should listen to the contest roundup, which talks about all the other things you can do. Elroy, that'll keep you busy. We got gamer tags. We got, what's this X going to give it to you? Any games with X's in them? the Mocos action going on. Lots to do in the community. So that's always super fun. And the random to-do list. Now, of course, Elroy, you're done, but we should kick it over to that and not forget about Reviews Ed on here too. So for all that amazing content, please stick around for the rest of the show, and I'll sign us out at the end. So without further ado, here is the rest of the show.
Z to Z Podcast presents Reviews Ed.
All right. Well, thanks for that introduction. Assuming we got introduced. So
they've been pretty good
back
about
for
that.
this week. Yeah. So it's kind of what we go in blind to these things. No idea how we're being introduced. But this week, what we were playing was Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxies, the Telltale series, which was published and developed by nobody other than Telltale Games. I think that's kind of obvious from the title. This was first started coming out in April of 2017. It's carrying an Xbox Live Store price right now of $10 for the bundle. I think that's the Black Friday sale. Normally it's $20, or I think it's like $5 per episode if you buy through the episodes separately, right? So $25 if you buy them individually, $20 for the bundle. Get them all for 10. Can you get the stack for 10 as well? Do you know? Maybe you know.
You mean the 360 stack? I'm not sure what it costs.
I was actually saying Windows 10. Did they do it for Windows 10? I don't even know the stacks
I think
anymore.
they did. I can't play them because I can't do DX11 on this piece of crap laptop. Yes, there is indeed all 30 achievements available on Windows 10.
Okay. I'm not sure
no, apparently it's not on the 360, so the only stack is on Win 10 for this game.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, honestly, so I can't talk too much about the story without giving away spoiler, which is kind of the unfortunate thing with reviewing Telltale games, because really, to really cover a game, you want to talk about the gameplay, but it's a Telltale game. So I guess without going into too much of the story, because again, that's why you're really paying for this. I mean, what's your standpoint in terms of how Telltale put it together? Was this...
As far as Telltale games go, I thought this one was actually put together well. Personally, when I played, I only had one glitch, and I'm not sure if it was actually the game or if it was something else my console was doing, because it was working on updates. It just randomly crashed to the desktop on me. But other than that, I didn't have the weird graphical glitches that most Telltale games are good for, like, you know, weird geometry poking through, or the audio all synced up properly. I can't say there was anything wrong gameplay wise that usually happens in the Telltale series.
Yeah. So I guess we would both agree from the standpoint of how, hey, it's a Telltale game using, as Randy sometimes like, well, it's not quite a lie engine, but it's whatever the Telltale engine. He's not a fan of it. I don't think this was, again, I haven't had nearly, but I mean, I've always played on the Xbox One, so maybe it used to be playing on the 360. It was more prone to the Telltale engine issues.
The show was broken bad for me on the one, so it goes by the game, I think.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess from as a game goes, the engine worked. So it wasn't... Now, I guess this really goes into, for those, without telling too much about the story, because I don't really know what I can talk about in terms of the story without spoiling it, but I have personally never seen the movies. Yeah, I know. Really funny considering... Okay. As maybe in some background, I used to be a very big Marvel comic aficionado, I guess, at the time in the 90s. Yeah, I was really big on the early Todd McFarlane back when he was still, doing Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, before Spider-Man, before he just started that one series. Yeah, this is pre-Image Comics. So, I remember things with the Infinity Gauntlet. So Thanos, however you want to pronounce it. In terms of the characters, I guess in the extended universe, there's more where. but I never got into Guardians of the Galaxy as a group. I mean, they were relatively newer. Like when the movies came out, that's when they came into the universe, right? These aren't.
I was going to say I don't recall them having a place earlier on in the series. I'm pretty sure that the movies was their first appearance, although there's probably someone that's going to tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah. So, and without having, and I don't know, maybe it's because my son isn't into the comic books. Or into comics per se. He didn't get into things like the Avengers, hasn't watched the Spider-Man movies. We watched some Disney stuff. So, again, as a comic Marvel fan growing up, I was always more Marvel than DC. I'm happy with what Disney has done in terms of their Marvel movies versus, who's the other one? Universal. So I think Guardians falls on that. But either way, I haven't really kept up. So the movies look...
Well, I can tell you this. Unlike Game of Thrones, which seems like it sticks pretty close to the actual TV series, this takes plot references from the movies, but does not follow the movies.
Okay. So with that, right? So I don't have the bias of having seen the movies to being, oh my gosh, it doesn't really follow. Okay, and actually the Guardians of the Galaxy was the 1960s. Wait, you know what? I did have this comic. I'm looking at the Guardians of the Galaxy from 1990. So yeah, okay. That's a completely different group of, Jim Valencia was the art. Okay, so maybe so this is really my first exposure to whatever this Guardians of the Galaxy. Sorry, I should probably go see the movies. But I don't know. It really drug on for me. I mean, the characters are okay, but I don't know.
Part of my disappointment with the characters here has to do with the fact I don't think Telltale was able to use their real voices or the actors. So they kind of had to do with stand-ins.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, I guess given the hype for the movies, at least I wasn't disappointed by, like having a preconceived notion of this is how the character should be. But maybe I was also, because people have just raved about the movie so much, was expecting more from it. I think of the Dark Knight Telltale that we reviewed. Did I review that with you? I don't remember who I did that with now. Seems so long ago. But when I did the Batman Telltales, I mean, the story, even though I like Batman, but I'm not like overly enamored with Batman, the story was at least kept me going. I wanted to figure out what was going episode to episode. For this, not so much. I really was just, all right, plugging through. Okay, made it to the next chapter. Just, I didn't get drugged. I didn't get pulled through the story. It almost is having to push myself to really just get to the next one and go like, all right, let's get my achievement and move on.
Well, I guess there's this for you then. Did the first episode have anything for you? Or for me, the first two really pulled me in. It started setting the stake for like a really, really good universe, like Tales from the Borderlands good. And it felt like it just kind of dropped off in the final episodes, whether they just bit off too much and didn't have the team to put together the rest of the story, or if it was rushed. I don't know what happened, but my God, the last two episodes just felt like jammed together.
See, that's the problem. I didn't even get brought in on those first two. So maybe that was the difference. You got let down. I never even got up the roller coaster embankment. So yeah.
Oh yeah. They dragged me way to the top of a hill. And I tell you, that thing went down into the ground.
So I guess, I don't know about you, but for me, I can't really recommend this one unless you're just such a fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And even then you'll probably be disappointed. I don't know. Just, I think they've been not bad for a Telltale engine, but in terms of how stories go, I was mediocre on it.
No, I would have to agree. This is definitely not their best work. For $10, I would totally recommend you grab this because it's really cheap for what this is. You do get a good 9 to 10 hours of story out of it. It might not be the best story, but as far as Telltale goes, it's pretty average for them.
Yeah. Now, can we preload it?
No, it's a Telltale game. Every episode you complete, it's an achievement. So yeah, this is not reloadable.
Oh, sorry about that, G-Tasker. It's not really preloadable, but not hard to get all the achievements.
Unlike, I kind of wish Telltale still kept what they did originally. There was always like one or two oddball achievements that you actually had to work for. And it seems like they've just fallen into the complete episode 1, chapter 1 pattern, episode 1, chapter 2. There's no variety. It's just the same. It's like the ACA Neo Geo lists. We know what it is. Is it a good game? Yeah. The story is okay. Let's play it.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that one, I guess I'd have nothing else to add. Do you, Warren?
No, that pretty much sums it up. A decent game overall. Probably going to be a letdown come the end. And thankfully, at least as far as I could tell, no real glitches.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we'll kick it back over to you guys. Till next time.
Peace.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to What the L with the RTDL. What the heck was that? I am Big L, and with me, as always, is Elroy.
Hey, guys.
Before Elroy gives his wonderful spiel, I happen to notice that Proulx and Fream are at a dead heat at positions 19 and 20 on the leaderboard. Proulx is up by 8 points. Fream looked to be in 26th place last week, so he's jumped into the top 20. So it'll be curious to see where these co-hosts wind up next week. Elroy, to you.
All right. Well, got a little bit of an update here for you. I hope that you make it to the end. So without further ado, I jump into it. Thanksgiving has ended, and the bird and bird accessories have been put inside one's designated refrigerated device to be munched upon at a later date. Similarly, many have consumed the bulk of their blessed RTDL lists, and there appears to be a logjam at the top of the chart. For the third straight week, the top 5 have seen no new faces. It would seem the amazing Z2Z community is content to let NBA Kirkland, B. Smittle, Smitty, Urban Spaceman, Kahuna, and full combo having ElroyOMJ share all the glory. Regrettably, much like a demotivator poster entitled Failure, featuring someone throwing a single tiny bucket of water on a blazing fire with a small print stating, "When your best just isn't good enough." It would seem that Elroy's best just wasn't good enough. Big Kahuna combed leads for leads to find the missing FIFA game on his list and used that pop as a light kick in conjunction with another that served as a light punch to counter Elroy's very light RTDL punch to pull off a combo breaker. Much like the helpless baby seal, Elroy can only look up misty-eyed as he can do nothing as the club comes down and he is bludgeoned by the Kahuna, who takes the lead. Other than this coup d'etat, there is no news. But in the spirit of not cutting the update short, after all, you haven't heard my voice in what I can only assume has been the longest 10 minutes of your lives. We will now take a look at the gamers, who much like those who shoved uneaten portions of their holiday meal into their fridge, have plenty of RTDL leftovers to consume in the week ahead. As the month comes to a close, it's time for RTDL Update, Leftovers Edition, featuring the top 5 bottom feeders. Note, this list includes only those with at least one pop, for it is quite easy to do nothing, but it is much more challenging to do the absolute minimum. There's an honorable mention this week, and a last-minute upset. Avoiding the list is Exprovos. Note, the names may or may not have been butchered using an elaborate coding system to protect the innocent RTDLers who no longer deserve to be on this list. Had he not pulled off a last-minute pop netting his second Chivo on his list this month, he might have heard something in the update such as, This king of the Titans may have been worshipped as the god of time, but such ancient civilizations may elect to use a mulligan on that designation after seeing how little time he has spent on his RTDL this month. Fortunately, he will never have to hear that material written about him because he escaped the list, and it won't be featured along with something like, with a single pop worth an underwhelming 138 points that comes from Zombie Driver Ultimate Edition entitled, I'm Just Warming Up. This Chivo sits on a throne of lies, and barring a late push this week, the next stop for the Zombie Driver is mediocrity. So, a special thanks to Exprovos for not making me read stuff that I wrote yesterday before he tried a little bit harder. Those who did not escape the list, however, include on 5th place, Matthew 00. Don't be fooled by his misleading tag. He would be more aptly named Matthew 01 from his single pop worth 143 hard-fought points. 001 got his points from completing Act 3 on Hardcore in Gears of War. Unfortunately, that was the only thing hardcore about his performance yet so far this month, but perhaps he will munch on some leftovers soon enough. Not 4th place is occupied by no other than Wheezy Fuzz, who no doubt is having troubles breathing when he sees all of the 6,300 points worth of leftovers on his list. His 140 points come from his Right in the Grape Chivo for scoring 7 headshots in a row in Medal of Honor. In related news, for landing 1 headshot in a row on his RTDL list, he gets the Medal of Dishonor and needs to get busy popping. In an exciting RTDL update first, there is a tie for non-third and non-second place. Both Keith 271179 and Soup A Buoy posted a single pop worth 129 points to earn their esteemed spots. Keith's lone pop comes from Motocross Madness for earning Crash Test Dummy. In one final run for said Crash Test Dummy, he clearly hit the wall of the RTDL, which isn't budging any. Soup A Buoy, meanwhile, floats on the sea of ineptness as any buoy would, with his lone pop of being the Raider of the Tombs in Sherlock Holmes' Crime and Punishments. All the evidence has been collected, and I would like to solve the case. The buoy didn't do it using the Xbox on the RTDL. No soup for you. And the unspectacular top spot sets X Towers with an unimpressive single pop worth an entire 104 points. His sole points were gained from unlocking an item from the kudos wall in the game Give Me 5. The RTDL would like to add some kudos to the top non-gamer. So many congrats on unlocking the single Chivo of the appropriately named Remember Your First? Remember your first? More like remember your last. Remember your only? Remember your list? Remember the RTDL? Whatever the case, many kudos to X Towers for his Chivo. It may be Remember Your First with an O-U-R, but barring you open the fridge door of your RTDL, get out some of those leftovers and start eating, it shall be Remember Your First with an O-U-R-E. And that is your RTDL update, Leftovers Edition.
Wow, Elroy, that was quite the recap. Do I get to say anything this week?
Oh, yeah. So, I forgot you were there for a second. The list that features you knocking on the door of that top 5 that seemed to be pretty locked in on those top 5 spots. So, you're at number 6. So, what have you been working on?
Number 6 again for the second straight week. Trying to get into the top 5. Been working on The Walking Dead with my wife.
Awesome.
And Proulx has finally been helping me with Super Street Fighter 4.
Oh, that's good.
And my son has been watching me play Motocross Madness looking for skulls.
Skulls on the ground, always a good thing.
And Michelle was doing Gears of War Judgment with me, the multiplayer.
Wait. So, well, is there anything you played by yourself this week?
Are we talking about gaming? Because in my free time, when my wife's not around, I like to